Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Blocks and Barriers with me, Tracy, the health coach. Today we have with us Marina. Marina is the founder of OK Talk. She is a dedicated counselor and psychotherapist committed to enhancing mental and emotional well-being. She also helps corporate teams create workplace cultures that prioritize understanding, empowerment, and sustainable solutions over quick fixes. Marina specializes in fostering resilience, behavioral change, and therefore supports a diverse clientele and is said to be able to quickly put her clients at ease while also offering compassion. So Marina will be helping us in understanding a bit about counseling as she helps people navigate life's complexities with the ultimate goal of personal growth and fulfillment. So welcome, Marina.
Hi, Tracy, and thank you for this lovely introduction.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So we always do an icebreaker. So I'm just going to ask you quickly. So if you could have breakfast, lunch, and dinner with any three different people, whether they are dead or alive, who would it be?
I would definitely have those meals with my grandparents and my son.
Lovely, lovely. Any reason, or if you could capture just one reason, what's the importance of your family and your
Yeah,
partner?
so my son never met my grandparents. They passed away years ago, so I would just love to, experience that.
Yeah, lovely. Just to connect the generations, the family out of love. Lovely. So maybe share a bit about your background. What inspired you to pursue counseling and psychology?
Yes, yes. So as you said, I'm a counselor and psychotherapist with over 10 years of experience. And, as growing up, I didn't have much support, and I felt like, it would be great to have something like that. And maybe that led me to study counseling and psychology. So, working with people and supporting them, it means a lot to me.
Yeah, wonderful. And when it comes to opening up and mental health stigma, this is still something a lot of people struggle with. So what do you think is the struggle in opening up?
Yes, it's not easy to open up, even though we know we're going to see a professional, or even if we're speaking to friends, sometimes it can be a challenge because we can be seen as weak. So that's definitely one very strong factor.
Mhm. And I guess also for men, there's also that is it stigma that they're less more likely to come up and talk, maybe as opposed to women. And of course, there's some women who may be the same. So in their situation, with your experience, what do you think is happening there? Why do they struggle to open up in particular?
I would say younger generation, they're more open than older generation. It's really difficult to say. I think it's about, if you feel, you build that trust and that relationship, it's much easier. Yeah, for some men can be obviously challenging to talk about the difficulties because they want to be seen as strong.
Yeah. And I guess that means maybe they perceive that if they open up, there's something going to happen. So in your sessions, what do you feel has come up that they feel they perceive would be maybe the disadvantage of opening up?
um what they would perceive, or
Yeah,
how they would be perceived.
maybe it's both actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of, some of my clients, I would say, men, they obviously are happy to open up. That's my kind of experience from my work. Yeah, I think we still hold this belief in our society, but that's slowly changing. It might take, that time to open up for even with the chatty cafe. I'll give you an example. People assume this is only for ladies, but we have a lot of men as well, and they happy to come and chat about anything.
Mhm.
So I'm really thinking, okay, are we just making this, generalized statement about men, or let's look at individuals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm. Good, good, good. So, what are the benefits of opening up then for those who may be looking, okay, maybe they're hesitant. So, what do you feel are the benefits of opening up when it comes to mental health issues?
Yes, as I said, it can be a really challenge. I remember as when I was a student of counseling and psychotherapy, we had to go and do counseling, and I remember, just going there. It was a huge challenge. I didn't know what to talk about. I was aware of benefits, you can benefit from having therapy, but I was not aware of the process. So I guess everyone, when we open up to professional or to a friend, there could be, different benefits. When we talking releases happy hormones. They say, only we talk to other friend for, I think, 7 or 9 minutes. That can be kind of enough. So just remember that you don't need hours of conversation, only
Yeah.
just couple of minutes sharing, something what you struggle with, or your problems. So there's a lot of benefits, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of benefits.
Yeah. And so, yeah, and I think that's a good point in that, or you just said something's come off my head. Yes, sometimes we don't know the process. So that's where now we start to make up a story thinking it will go this way and that way. But once we understand the process, then we can understand the reality of it and then the benefits of it. Yeah. So that's
Yeah,
lovely.
yeah, because when we open up, you never know how that person's gonna react, and people are worried to, being judged. That's a big one.
Yeah, being judged. So when we're worried about being judged, what's happening there? What are we fearing in that of being judged?
Yeah, I believe we want to be seen in, a certain light, and when we just open up and share our worries, you can't, you are vulnerable, and that what we don't want to be seen like this in front of everyone. So I always say you have to choose person, to open up, and someone who you feel safe
Yeah,
with.
yeah. And in your experience, who is more receptive to counseling? Is it
Uh,
younger people or older people or professionals or men or women?
I would say younger generation is more open to it. I worked with clients who were over 70, 80, and they were, questioning, "Oh, why I'm here." They were calling me also, not my counselor, but my lady. So
Oh.
they changed the language as well. Um, I guess, yeah, younger generation is more open to it.
Yeah. And can you put down what it's due, why are they open? Why are they more open or
Um,
receptive? Yeah.
yeah, maybe because, the world talk about it now.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's everywhere. It's good to talk.
Mhm.
So that they're more open to it, or maybe they have more trust.
Mhm.
It's really difficult to say. Yeah, but that's what I've noticed.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, yeah, maybe they've also come into a culture where now, mental health is spoken about more. It's
Yeah.
everywhere. People are talking about it. So it gives them that comfort. But that's really good to know because we would be worried thinking, oh, they're not opening up. So it's really good to hear actually they are receptive. And
In
in
general, but
general, yes,
there are some,
of course.
individuals who just don't feel like opening up, or they don't feel like they're not ready, and that's
Yeah,
fine. That's still
yes, yeah,
fine.
yeah. So just in general, you always get, a few different situations. And realistically, how long should someone give therapy? Because I think maybe sometimes they may think it's a quick fix, but no. So what is a realistic time frame they should give?
Yeah, majority comes with, and they want quick fix, and maybe that's
Mhm.
why sometimes they get disappointed.
Yes.
But it's important to talk about it's a commitment and it is a process. I
Mhm.
would say the norm in therapy is to have 6 to 8 sessions and then review your sessions. It really depends with what issues they come in, what they want to talk about, and what the therapy goals are.
Yeah. And how would they know if it's working for them? How can they assess, okay, I'm making progress?
Yeah, yeah. It's a very good question. I think you kind of know that okay, you achieving something, yeah.
Mhm.
Whatever it is, you know. From my personal experience, I know, I had, I don't know, 6 sessions of therapy, and then I felt the benefits after a couple of months. Yeah. So we need to, digest everything what happens, because if the therapy is happening every week, you still need to process actually what happened, what you talk about, the things, change all the time. So give yourself that time.
Yeah, I think that's really important because, as you said, yeah, each person will have their own different situation. Maybe, and also maybe does it also depend on the person, in that if you're involved, if you're doing what you can as well, that also helps you to get the result that or helps you see that yes, I'm moving forward.
Yeah, yeah, because sometimes we can obviously set the therapy goals so we know what we're working towards, but sometimes people come to therapy with just to talk about their life circumstances, and that is outside their control.
Yeah. So if we were to think of how can there's the timeline that they need to be realistic and say, okay, at least maybe 6 sessions or something like that, depending on the person. But then is there something they can also be yeah, let me rephrase it. What are some of the things they can actually be doing to commit to the counseling process?
The first one is definitely to attend. Yeah.
Yeah.
uh, I believe it's good to have, when if you're starting your counseling, it's good to have weekly sessions.
Yes.
I think that's very important for at least couple of weeks, and then maybe decide, okay, maybe fortnightly or once a month, or just to check in sometimes if you don't want long-term counseling. Yeah, sorry, what was your question?
So, like, what can they do to make sure they're getting the best out of counseling? So, attend for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. If you think about you need to build that trust,
Mhm.
yeah, with your counselor. If you don't trust your counselor or you feel judged, that would not work.
Yeah. And in terms of maybe if they're given activities, what's the benefit of them doing such like maybe would you set for them a task? So then it's important for them to do those tasks. Or what's your take on things like
Yes,
homework?
yeah. Okay. Yeah, there are some approaches in therapy where obviously you can do some activities at home. I always say to my clients, not everyone likes doing it. Not everyone's got time. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I give them choice. It is really up to them, or even looking at the resources. It's always good if you go through resources, if you do some activities. Also, you can take it back to your sessions and maybe reflect on that as well. So I would definitely recommend doing it.
Yeah. So once they start the process, have you ever found like maybe they'll have any objections to the process?
Um, I'm just thinking, so when they start the process, sometimes I've noticed with my clients, they come to realizations. And not everyone is ready for that. Yeah, not everyone is ready to, be challenged, or challenge themselves even. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's when sometimes people, even when they come into, and it's difficult, or they don't feel like they can do anything about it. Obviously, they go with that feeling. It's really hard to continue,
Yeah.
so they
And
might stop.
yeah,
Mm.
they might stop. Yeah. And in that situation, what would be your advice be for someone who wants to stop? Obviously, you can't force them, but
Yeah.
what would be your maybe encouragement as they stop or as they go on to whatever they want to do?
Yeah. I always give them a choice. Yeah.
Mhm.
It really depends how they feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. uh Having conversation about it, why they want to stop, why they feel overwhelmed. I think it's a good thing, so it's
Yes.
just having that conversation, um and then it's just really deciding what's the best for the client.
Yeah. And do you find sometimes at some point some of them do come back?
Oh yes, they
Yeah.
do. They
Hmm.
do. I obviously I've been practicing for years,
Yeah.
and they do come back. Even after 5 years, they do come back when they're ready.
That's
Yeah.
the key thing. So the key thing is when they're ready, then they come back.
Yes.
Yeah. And what do you think makes them ready now? Is it maybe a different situation has happened, or now is just maturity, seeing life in a different way? What do you think makes them ready when they come back?
Sometimes, even with age, the circumstances
Yeah.
change. So there's a couple of factors.
Yeah, yeah. And in your experience when it comes to the workplace, how can employers show that genuinely they are committed to their employees' mental health as opposed to it being a tick box exercise?
Yeah. I think having something in place, it can be employee assistance program, or anything, even without commitment, that can be any workshops, or counseling services in place. So when employee is struggling, they know where to go, and sometimes we don't want to go to our manager.
Yeah.
We want to keep things confidential.
Yes.
um it really depends. I've noticed with obviously managers, leaders, that they seen as strong individuals. They don't want to go to someone else from their organization. So I think it's very important to have something in place where they can just confidentially go to and speak about the issues.
Yeah. And for the employee, how will they know that, okay, my workplace has this program? How can they be reassured or not reassured? How can they know that, yes, this is definitely, how do I say it? How can they,
Safe place for them to go and.
yeah, because maybe they'll be thinking, oh, like say, oh, Marina has a contract with the employer,
Mm.
and maybe does she have to say, okay, this person is really doing well. So how can they just be reassured, I guess, of that confidentiality and that this program will actually help them?
Yeah, so obviously there's different programs. So
Yeah.
sometimes HR send the employee to counseling. So it really depends on the organization. But I think important is how it should be, that everything what is shared with the counselor in the session, it's confidential. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
there are some exceptions, but the things are confidential.
Yes. Yeah. And what would those be exceptions? Because somebody may be like, what?
I guess there is a long list.
There's a lot. Yeah. But
I'm just trying
or
to
just
think of.
maybe I guess it would be maybe a safeguarding issue where, somebody, would that be one of them maybe?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
if
just things like that. Yeah. But
yeah.
there's a long list. Yeah, that's fine. But ultimately, it's confidential.
Yes, and it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Often. I did not obviously
Yeah.
have that experience.
Yes, yeah. So, and you said, the programs will differ company to company. So for small companies, maybe they can't afford an extensive program. What can they do to effectively support their employees' mental health?
Yeah, as you said, some of them they can obviously commit to programs, but maybe they can book a workshop. At OK Talk, we do offer workshops. Those are bespoke workshops, so we do talk to organizations, and then we create workshop based on obviously what they need. To deal with. So that means, in 1 2 hours, you can offer that support to couple of people, to a group of people, rather than sending your employee to one-to-one support. Yeah, so that there can be some money obviously saved. But it really depends what needs to be dealt with. Yeah.
Yeah. And in terms of coping strategies, are there maybe some quick ones we can easily do when, like now, end of the year, Christmas is coming, end of the year pressure? Are there any coping strategies that you feel people can quickly adapt or bring into their routine?
Yes, I would say it really depends on the individual, Sometimes we feel like we need to do a lot of activities, and
Mm.
um whatever you do, just think, okay, how is it affecting me? Do I feel energized or do I feel drained? So whatever you do, maybe just ask those 2 questions.
Yeah. And, people will listen to, podcasts and read books, and they'll have the programs at work, but still, they'll still struggle to cope despite all this increased mental health awareness. So what do you think it is that people will still struggle despite all this awareness?
Yeah, and I believe it's a lifestyle. Yeah, we do. If you think about that, we would Google now coping strategies. We could find a long list of them. Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean one strategy is going to work for everyone. So again, I would just go back. What works for me? Why do I feel overwhelmed? What's actually happening? And maybe trying to change something. And maybe stop doing, start doing.
And yeah, so maybe just seeing what worked before, and then, or maybe sometimes maybe we're just doing too much, and then just
Yes.
decrease, some things, or prioritize, especially when you feel you're in that place where you're feeling overwhelmed. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's
So really, just finding those grounding
mm,
activities or techniques.
mm,
Yeah. So you feel grounded. If you're busy,
yeah,
think, okay, what do I need to do to feel more grounded?
yeah. And that's a good way to now go to the next question, which is, what are your thoughts on work-life balance?
Absolutely, very important.
Yeah,
Work-life balance.
yeah.
I would say we all need different things, so it's really just finding what works for you and what doesn't.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
when it comes to getting that work-life balance, what are some first steps maybe someone can do to improve it? And I think this is a good time to be talking about it, because maybe someone will be thinking, you know what, next year in the new year, I'll think of it now. But in your opinion, what are some first steps they can take to start
Yeah, I
improving?
always say being aware.
Mhm.
Yeah. So make yourself aware what works for me,
Yeah,
what doesn't, I'm very much aware that, for example, about me, I do not do enough exercise.
yeah,
I could do, much more. It's
yeah,
never been my, passion to do exercise.
yeah.
So it's really just if we aware of this, what could we do? I try to do maybe 5, 10 minutes of
Mhm.
even stretching a
Yeah.
day, yeah, to start with, and just building that routine. So really just looking into, okay, what we doing right, yeah, what is something what we could do and it would support us and our physical or mental health.
Yeah. So I guess, yeah, the key thing is to be aware. Once you're aware, then now you can start to see, okay, this is working, this is not working, and let me change this, let me do my exercise. And in terms of exercise, or let's say, let's call it physical activity,
Yeah.
you know, how does that really impact our mental health?
It does impact,
Mhm.
definitely.
Mhm.
um if you don't exercise, I would definitely suggest to do some exercise, or even
Yeah,
if you go for a walk.
yeah,
Yeah, because I believe we can't have good well-being and great mental health without doing some physical activity,
yeah,
and opposite. we
exactly.
need we need both.
We need both, yes. It's a combination of things.
Yes.
And so, what is one key takeaway you'd like our listeners to remember in this topic of mental health and coping strategies and just, living the life that they want?
Yes, yes. That I want them to remember that mental health is important as physical health.
Mhm.
Um, you know, it's a commitment. It's a lifestyle. So really just deciding, what to do, and it's a commitment which can be really tricky, but finding someone to support you, whoever it is, family, a friend, or a professional. And even though sometimes we feel like, oh, feeling lost, or kind of we don't believe, or we're not strong enough. Yeah, just looking for the support, because it is out there.
It is out there, and there's a whole variety. Marina is there, your mental health, your physical health, the gym or things like that, or walking, whatever passion you have. And then people like us, health coaches, to help you, I can't see the time. I can't see the time, or, I just need to keep active. How do I do that with a hectic schedule? So there's a lot of support. And one of the support I guess you give is in the Chatty Cafe. Tell us a bit about the Chatty Cafe.
Yes, so the Chatty Cafe it's a scheme, and it's all over the country. I love a Chatty Cafe. So we meet in Portishead every Monday in the morning, and we chat about different things. So people assume because of my work it's a therapy. It is not. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just chat about things.
Yeah.
And I know this Monday I had a lady, and she was supposed to, she had some appointment, and she said, oh, I can't even leave the table because I love chatting. So obviously she was running a bit late because she enjoyed chatting, and she said, do really feel those benefits, and it's really hard to leave the table. So I think as everyone comes to to chat for different reasons, but it just brighten your day.
Yeah. And so it's just the value of just opening up. You're in a group of people where you can just share. And even if it's not a counseling session, you still feel uplifted. So it's so valuable. So if people wanted to connect with you, Marina, what's the best way?
Yes, so you can connect with me through my website, which is oktalk.co.uk. Yeah, you can send me email or connect with me on social media. That can be LinkedIn or Facebook.
Yeah. So I'll get your details, and then I'll share in the description below. Marina, thank you so much. It's been wonderful as always. You've given us things to think about, and it's just as you said, understand that there's a process when it comes to counseling. It's not going to be a quick fix. The more you put into it, give yourself patience, and work with your counselor. Of course, build that trust. And sometimes it may be hard. You may need to take a break. That's okay. And when you're ready, you'll come back to it, and then you'll get all the benefits. But in the meantime, it's as Marina said, it's just, the lifestyle aspect is important as well, your physical activity, and also approaching your mental health the way you would your physical. So you eat, you drink your water, you're hydrated. So you also need to take care of your mental health. Find time to remain, just be still and relax, or just stretch, as Marina said. So there are different things we can do. And of course, if you're in the workplace, there may be a program, look into it. And just remember, it's confidential. So it's not that, your manager will be told your private business, unless it's one of a particular list of things, which Marina has said in her years of practice, it barely happened. So you are safe. So thank you, Marina. We
Thank you,
wish you all the
Tracy.
best in all you do. I'll share your details, and I know they'll be connecting with you.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And thank you, audience, for viewing. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode.